something terrifying happened every single night for hundreds of thousands of years of human history. The sun went down, and there was nothing. No fire, no light, no sound except the dark breathing of the forest around you and whatever was living inside it. You couldn't see your own hands. You couldn't see your children. You had absolutely no way of knowing what was 3 feet away from you in the darkness. And yet, your ancestors survived it every single night. How? Think about the last time the power went out at your house. Maybe an hour, maybe 2. You probably grabbed your phone immediately, turned on the flashlight, felt that small spike of panic in your chest. Now, imagine that feeling, but it never ends. There is no phone. There is no candle. There is no morning light switch waiting for you across the room. This was the reality for early Homo sapiens, and even before them for Homo heidelbergensis and Homo erectus for hundreds of thousands of years before controlled fire became part of daily life. The oldest consistent evidence of fire use, actual hearths, repeated campfire sites, only goes back around 400,000 years, but our genus has existed for nearly 2 million years. So what happened during all those nights in between? That question has quietly fascinated anthropologists for decades, and the answer they found, it changes how you think about sleep, about fear, about being human. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Early humans weren't just dealing with darkness. They were dealing with active, hungry predators that specifically hunted at night. Leopards, hyenas, saber-toothed cats in earlier periods. These weren't animals that avoided humans. Humans were prey. Small, slow, no claws, no fangs. A 2006 study by paleoanthropologist Donna Hart, co-authored with Robert Sussman in their book Man the Hunted, made a genuinely unsettling argument that early humans weren't the dominant hunters of their era. They were frequently the ones being hunted. Fossil records show puncture marks from big cat teeth on early hominid skulls. So the night wasn't peaceful. It was a survival problem that had to be solved every single evening for hundreds of thousands of years. And the solutions your ancestors invented, they're still living inside your body right now. The first thing early humans almost certainly did was go vertical. Before fire, the safest place at night was up. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, still do this. Every single night, they build fresh sleeping nests in trees, usually 10 to 30 feet off the ground. It takes them about 5 minutes. They choose forked branches that can hold their weight and that would make a predator's climb loud and unstable. Researchers believe early hominids did the same thing. In fact, a 2018 study published in the American Journal of Physical Anthropology found structural adaptations in early human shoulder and wrist bones that suggest our ancestors were regularly bearing weight overhead, consistent with tree climbing and nest building long before our brains had already started evolving toward modern cognition. So for a massive stretch of human prehistory, going to bed meant climbing a tree. But here's where it gets interesting. Anthropologist David Sampson at the University of Toronto has spent years studying sleep across primate species. And what he found is remarkable. Humans sleep differently than any other primate. We sleep less total hours, but we get dramatically more REM sleep, the deep dreaming phase, than chimps or gorillas do. His theory, published in 2015 in the American Journal of Physical Anthropology, is that when early humans came down from the trees and started sleeping on the ground, likely in groups for protection, they evolved the ability to sleep deeper and more efficiently. Because they couldn't afford long, interrupted sleep cycles while remaining alert to ground-level threats. They essentially evolved a more powerful, compressed sleep. And the group part mattered enormously. Early humans didn't sleep alone. They slept in tight clusters. Physical contact, shared warmth, the sound of each other's breathing. Someone was likely always in a lighter sleep phase, aware. The group itself was the alarm system. Now here's the part that nobody talks about. The nights weren't only fear, they were also the birthplace of human connection. Once you're safe, wedged in a tree or huddled against a group of rock face, what do you do with the darkness for 8, 9, 10 hours? You can't hunt, you can't gather, you can't really move. Anthropologist Polly Weissner spent decades studying the Juhuansi Bushmen of the Kalahari, one of the oldest continuous cultures on Earth. In 2014, she published a landmark study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, comparing what people talked about during the day versus what they talked about at night. During the day, practical things, food, tools, complaints, logistics. At night, around even a small fire or in darkness together, stories, distant places, spiritual beings, other people's lives, imagination. Weissner called the nighttime talk the school of the mind. She argued that the long, dark, enforced stillness of prehistoric nights was literally the environment that grew human storytelling, moral reasoning, and shared identity. The night didn't just threaten early humans, it shaped them. Think about the nights that have shaped you. The conversations that happened after midnight that you still remember. The fears you processed in the dark, staring at the ceiling. The strange clarity that sometimes comes at 3 a.m. when the world is quiet and something in you just opens up. That's not an accident. That's ancient. That's wired in. Your discomfort with darkness isn't a weakness. It's a survival signal that kept your entire lineage alive long enough to produce you. And your impulse to reach for someone, to talk, to tell stories in the dark, that's the same impulse that made humans human in the first place. Here's what you can actually take from this. The next time you can't sleep, instead of fighting the darkness, get curious about it. Your brain in those quiet nighttime hours is running a very old program. It's processing, connecting, storytelling internally. Some of the most important thinking humans have ever done happened in the dark, before fire, before language was even fully formed. The night isn't empty. It never was. Early humans were terrified of the dark, and they talked through the dark, and they survived the dark, and slowly they became us. There's something quietly powerful about that. If this made you think about something you haven't thought about before, drop it in the comments. What's the most interesting thing you've ever thought about at 3 a.m.? I genuinely want to know. And if you want to go deeper into the science of how your ancestors shaped the brain you're using right now to watch this, the next video is already waiting for you.